has an event from the
We'll take care of it.
And the agenda here is 10:13. Open session October on the 7th day is October 20th.
Jay, the October 13th day is the day the memo went out. Okay, so it's different.
Item 1, district substitutes. Explain the difference between teachers and para professionals. Because there's a person that's here twice, once as a teacher and then as a paraprofessional. Does that, they have a double job or something?
No, they don't. That means that that person is, it's not actually not volunteer, but they would like to either substitute for a teacher or substitute for a paraprofessional, if available.
So certified to do either one.
They can do either.
Number 2, degree change. I figured out very quickly. The $33,000. Who pays for the degrees?
They do. The teachers, yes.
When they go to school?
They pay for it, yes. Yes.
Does that change?
It's always been that way. Well, there is.
In the teacher's contract, there is language that does allow for some tuition reimbursement. The law, however, has recently changed and limits what they could receive tuition reimbursement for. Current law allows them to only be reimbursed for something that directly relates to their current teaching position.
Thank you. Good evening.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
So here's 150 Berwyn Street. I guess just regarding agenda item 20. Can anything be said about that, or does it have to wait for it to go to a vote?
It has to be voted on first. Okay. Well, yes, it has to be voted on first.
But there, I guess I would ask for a proxy for discussion before. I'm sure there will be, but just in case there isn't, some point of the contract can be made public before.
Not until it's voted on.
The contract needs to be ratified by the board before the contents of anything in it can be shared with the public. So the board will be voting on resolution number 20. And I think what we'll probably do is at a future board meeting, share some information about the contract. I mean, once everything is ratified, of course, the future document will be openable once it's ready.
It becomes operable the second it's ratified.
Yes, but right now, you would be opening an old contract
Correct.
that hasn't been updated yet.
Okay, just wondering why that's different than for a budget, which is discussed before it's ratified.
Well, a budget is not kept. A budget you are required by law to have a public board hearing on. There's something, it's a separate statute,
Gotcha.
but with a collective bargaining agreement, we don't have that requirement. It's considered confidential while it's pending and awaiting ratification.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion at this time. Next, we have any committee reports.
Good evening, everyone. Last week, we had both Curriculum Council meeting last Wednesday and last Thursday, the Curriculum Committee. The Curriculum Council is a group of representatives from various parts of our educational community. principals, we have teachers, board member, various people that have a vested interest in our educational system. And what happens is they come together 4 times a year and discuss what's happening at the various schools, and as far as the curriculum, hopefully sharing things exciting that's going on in particular schools. And it's a good way for the board to know really what's happening at the curriculum level. One of the exciting things is that our schools really are working together, and not just elementary schools working with elementary schools, but also high school working with elementary. The example being the Genesis system now, the grading system is being used, and so some of the high school teachers went down recently to the elementary school to help out the 5th grade teachers and to make sure they get used to a new system, which is great. Also, there's lots of articulation meetings going on, various teachers getting together at, say, the 5th grade level or working together to see what's happening and to make sure everyone's coordinated. One of the things that Mr. Garrido has been working on is to make sure that the elementary schools in particular across the district are aligned. And so basically the education you get at Aldine would be similar to the one you get at Sherman, which is a good thing, rather than having 3 separate schools within the district, that all the students will be able to learn similar information at a similar rate. So we're working really hard to make sure that happens, certainly at the curriculum level. Also, we have a number of exciting things going on. We have, for example, at the middle school, we have that one-to-one initiative, which is coming next month, where all of the students will have a computer or laptop to take home with them and hopefully make good use of it. And we're preparing our teachers for that to make sure that we're using all this new technology as effectively as possible. We also, for example, in middle school, we have a professor from William Patterson, who is a professor in residence. It's called basically modeling lessons and things like that for the middle school teachers to see. So we're working with the higher education institutions in our state. Another good thing is, for example, in the SciTech program at the high school, we also have all of the seniors who are in that program who are taking classes over at Kane this year. So that's a great thing to be working together with the local colleges. So a number of exciting things are happening in the area of curriculum, and I just want to share a few of them with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Seeing none, we'll move right into the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome parents and students. This is very exciting whenever we have students in our audience. First of all, I just want to report on a few of the events and activities that are happening around the district. The district is recognizing and celebrating Violence Prevention Week as it is required by the state. Every building has had some type of activity, whether it's in the classroom, assemblies, or so forth, or the counselors have conducted activities throughout the school. So we will continue to. It's the week of the 20th, so we just started, and it will run until Friday, the 23rd. Also, the district is holding or conducting train safety assemblies, since there's a community that does have a train that goes across the entire town. We feel that it's very important to provide our students with awareness about safety. The New Jersey Transit has a wonderful program. As a matter of fact, I was here in Aldine this morning during the program, and it was for the entire K through 5. They had a program for K through 3rd and then 4th and 5th. And again, the message is safety. Do not go near the train tracks. It's very dangerous and so forth. So I want to thank Andrea Casadoy, who is a social worker at the high school, for thinking and bringing this wonderful program to the district. All of the schools will be having some type of assemblies, all the way K through 12th grade. The park score reports will be released by the state in mid-November. We are waiting with anticipation. One thing that I want to just let the parents know and the public know is that this is a baseline year. Although we have high hopes and expectations that our students did the best that they could, it is a baseline year. We don't know what to expect in terms of results, but we will share the results with the public at an upcoming board meeting, possibly in December or January. We will make a PowerPoint presentation with the score results. As you know, I started the superintendent's chat this year. It has worked out really, really well so far. I've visited 2 buildings. One was Sherman and the other one was the high school last night. And they've been very successful. Some of the topics that we have discussed are related to school safety, district initiatives, programs, any concerns, ideas, and it's really an informal setting. I will be here in November. There is a calendar out on the website, so please, parents, if you can attend, I think it's a great, great way to, number one, share any concerns, share any ideas that you may have with me. And you know, we'll have a nice informal discussion. I think it's something that is very valuable to hear from the parents. So please join me in November. I don't know the exact date. I think it's November 18th, but I'm not sure. It is on the calendar. And I'm sure Mrs. Bella will send some, or the PTA will send some, the PTO will send some things home as well. Our technology initiative, just like Mr. Nelson just mentioned, is going on schedule. The middle school laptop distribution will be held during 2 Saturdays in November, November 14th and the 21st. Our students are very excited. Our teachers are very excited. They've been going through some training. I will share a little bit more about the integration of the technology in our curriculum and also the training that the teachers have had, hopefully within the next meeting or 2. But I will get that out to the public as well on the website. So everyone knows exactly where we are and, you know, where our funding is going to help and assist our students. And we're very excited to have technology as another tool to enhance instruction and the education of the students. So we're very excited, very proud, and very happy about it. Again, I will update the board and the public on the technology integration and the training at a later date. So thank you, and looking forward to the presentations that Ms. Fellow is going to make in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Summers.
Thank you. At this time, I will turn it over to the principal, Ms. Bello, please.
Welcome parents, students, families. I'm very excited to be able to share a celebration of achievement with you. Before I get to that, there are just a few additional things I'd like to share with the board in terms of what's going on here at Aldine and points of pride. As Mr. Garrido did mention, we did have our train safety assembly today, and I'd just like to add on by saying that I thought the students were very attentive in receiving the message and that it was done in a very developmentally appropriate and engaging way. So I was very pleased with the program today. We are continuing with the Week of Respect, which we've actually turned into a Month of Respect. Our guidance counselor, who's currently here, Nancy Arvesino, who is here while Ms. Sass is out, had planned a beautiful assembly in the first week of October. I'll be putting the links to both the Respect Rap and the Bruno Mars song that we enjoyed during the assembly on the website this week so that you're able to look at it. Students are able to also access that. We're continuing with classroom lessons regarding respect. And students are creating little stick figures that we're putting together, linking, holding hands to remind ourselves not only are we the school with heart, but that starts with respect. We are gearing up for the November parent conferences, another opportunity to continue our dialogue and our partnership between parents and teachers and ensuring student success. And I'm proud to report that on Thursday this week, we will be hearing our student council speeches as they prepare for the upcoming election. The voting does occur on Election Day. We do speak a little bit about democracy and the privilege of voting at that time. And then the student council officers make their first debut by representing the school at the Veterans Day ceremony to be held in town. Okay. And so, as Aldine's student recognition for the board meeting today, we are celebrating those fourth graders who achieved advanced proficiency on the spring 2015 New Jersey Ask Science Test. When I call your name, please come up, and we'll remain up front for a picture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mr. Kirsten, will you take the picture at the end? Thank you. Our photographer.
I'm going to start with 3 students who managed to score a perfect 300 score on the test. And I'd also like to point out that out of the pool of 46 students in the 4th grade who took the test, 20 Aldine students achieved advanced proficiency, which is 44% of the class. So it's really something to be proud of. Okay, so again, I'd like to start with 3 students who achieved perfect scores. Max McConnell, Justin Measham, and Matthew Stark. And I'll continue with others, the rest of the 17 students who completed the test with advanced proficiency. Andrew Toro. Theodore Berglund. Marco Valencia. Anthony Bien. Rashad Dingra. Christopher Luciano. Omar Mafarja. Remington Newhart. Madeline Almanzar. Emily Sharamova. Virginia Villa. Denisha Julian. Jacqueline Kazakowski. Jacob Piatowski. Adriana Valencia Vasquez. Kylie Rodriguez. And Veronica Ruiz. Congratulations on showing what you know. We're really proud of you.
I just realized I was going to be like. So your parents say you can leave.
Right. Except mine now.
That's not the bad.
At this time, I just want to congratulate all the students for the fantastic job that you've done. I'm totally impressed with the number of students that have got an award tonight for getting a perfect honor. It just goes to prove that Roselle Park has great students and great teachers. It just proves to me that when you have 44% of your students get these awards, it's totally amazing. It really, really is. And congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to Ms. Bello and also the teachers in the fourth grade and the ones in third grade who prepared them to go in the fourth grade too. Maybe they went back to second grade and first grade too. But again, I'm totally honored to be part of you tonight. Thank you. And usually what we do right now is we let the students go home because you got homework to do. I know that. No, you don't? How come? What I'd like to do that we have some students from the Sherman School who would like to say something to the Board of Education. So before I ask these students to go home and either go to bed or eat a snack or something, I'm going to have them speak, and then we're going to take just a 5-minute break so they can all go home, and then we'll proceed back into our meeting, okay? So at this time, the students from Sherman School, just line up behind the mic, and we'll try to lower it a little bit for you if you need to. Need to all from Sherman School. What's that? These are about English, right? Yes, right. Okay? What I'd like you to do, though, okay, if you could, just say who you are, okay? And you just say your first name. Okay?
Sarah.
Okay?
Good evening, Superintendent Dorito and members of the Board of Education. We present you with a petition supporting over 130 signatures of 4th and 5th graders and teachers from Sherman School. We, as the students of Sherman Elementary School, feel that we should be able to switch for science, social studies, and language arts alongside our math classes on a daily basis for the following reasons.
Carly,
Switching for classes each day will prepare us for years in both middle school and high school. Once we leave 6th grade, we will constantly be moving from classroom to classroom for different subjects. Some going to have all the 5th grade teachers instead of just 1 or 2. For all of the different subjects, we looked forward to meeting and getting to know all of the 5th grade teachers, and we were upset when we found out that we weren't switching anymore. Even though we loved our 1 or 2 teachers, we were so excited to move around for different classes like we did last year. Many of the kids up here tonight also play soccer or are involved in other town activities, which means they have talked to students from the other elementary schools about this problem. Most, if not all, of the other kids agree that we should be able to switch for all of our classes. Even though they haven't signed petitions like we have, we still think that their opinion is valid. We want fairness, not just for us, but all of the 4th and 5th grade students in Roselle.
When this change happened, we were not told about it, and we weren't really prepared. We don't think our parents were included when a decision for us to stop switching classes happened. We think there should have at least been a vote, or we should have been asked to how we felt about this. We are all a little upset that we weren't included in the decision-making process.
Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. We hope that you will strongly consider restoring the switching of classes in elementary schools.
Thank you. Thank you, students, for coming forward and giving your rights to speak your opinion on what you think should be done. Yes. And the other is that you spoke up for all the other 5th graders, whether it was in Sherman, Alpine, or Robert Gordon. So I think this is a good learning experience for the other students who might not have thought of that a petition could be brought to us. What we'll do with the petition is, Mr. Garrido, I don't know if Mr. Garrido wants to tonight speak about it. If you'd like him to, he can. Yeah, you like him to? We'll put him on the spot, okay? You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. I'm never on the spot when I'm in front of such mature and intelligent young people like I am tonight. First of all, I want to thank you and I want to congratulate you on the way you handled this. And I think this is a perfect experience for you on how democracy works. You can state your opinion. When I was your age, I lived in a country that I couldn't do this. So this country gives you the right to come up, speak about decisions that have been made, if you disagree with them, and share your opinions with people. And that's a great, great thing to do. And again, I commend you on the way you handle this. Now, just to explain to you, sometimes change can cause a little bit of discomfort. It's not something that we like. We're used to doing certain things for many years in certain ways. But sometimes because of other situations that come up with curriculum, with the way students learn now, okay, a little different, especially, you have your literacy block. Sometimes we have to make changes. And the reason why we did that, and decisions don't come very easy. Administrators, discuss this based on what we want you to learn and what we think is the best way for you to learn. And what we have now is literacy blocks, okay, where the homeroom teachers are teaching you certain strategies. And as you know, social studies and science has a lot of literacy as well. So we want to make sure that your homeroom teachers, since they know you better than anyone else, are able to apply the strategies in science and social studies. So really why we did it is because we want you to, just as we recognize all these students tonight, we want to be able to make sure that you're successful as you continue on. And by the way, next year you're going to be running around so much, changing classes, that you're going to need a little rest. So next year you're going to come back to me and say, wow, boy, we do a lot of changes. So it's going to come. It's really something that, you're going to get used to, and we will make sure that you get the best instruction possible. But I want to thank you, and I'll bring it to the administration as well, how great our students were here, and we will discuss it, okay? It's not going to stay just here, we will definitely have a discussion about it, okay? But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Mr. Guido, is it possible to have tonight's a little bit hard for the young students here tonight, maybe to grasp what you're saying in here. Is there a possibility where the principals can speak with the fifth graders? Because we're fifth graders, correct? Okay. So, not maybe any of the fourth or any of that down here, but the fifth graders came forward tonight. Is there a way that in each school, all the elementary schools, that the principals can kind of, I don't know, maybe get all the fifth graders together and explain to them so they kind of understand a little bit more than what just tonight said? I mean, it might be a little bit more easier for you to understand for your principal speaking to you. Maybe your teachers will be there. And this way they can get more into the little detail of it, and it'll help you out a little bit, you think? You think it'll be all right? All right, how about we try that? Okay, I'll ask Mr. Garrido to set it up with your principals to have your principals talk to you. Okay, and, you know, it can be 10, 15 minutes, whatever it might be, whatever it takes. So you can understand a lot better. We just don't want you walking out of the night saying, no, nothing's going to be done. We don't want you to feel that way. We want you to feel that the reason why we did it is the reason why we did it, and to explain to you why we did it. Okay, sounds good?
Okay. That's fine. I'll meet with the principals, and I'll make sure that they explain the reason, and if they have any questions, they can answer.
That's why I'm saying it's going to be a little easier than having tonight to try to explain this whole thing. It's a little bit more than just the curriculum that's being out there. There's a lot more involved with it. Okay, so the law gets into it is what I'm trying to say. So again, let's have the meetings with the principals. Okay, and let's see how that works out. And if you're still not, I don't know, satisfied or whatever, you're welcome to come back. Okay? Well, call Mr. Garrido. Maybe they'll make it better. Call Mr. Garrido. If there's nobody else that wants to speak, for the students itself, at this time we're going to take I'll ask for a 5-minute recess for the board. All approved? Yes? Yes, okay. So we're just going to take 5 minutes so we'll let the students go on a happy way. All right? Thank you.
I can't. Dad, is that yours?
Nice job, sir. Congratulations.
Bye, guys.
Congratulations.
Like Maggie.
One's gonna go to Africa.
See you later.
You want to grab your legs? You like, your legs. Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm bringing in something for you. Well, Maggie, you have an eyelash.
That's okay. I figured
Starting the board.
Ready, get set.
You get your report. You want to get your report? 4:30? Okay. That's the plan. If we can get it, this weekend, we get Thursday.
Not online though.
I got David's online, so his should be probably get it tomorrow. Or maybe today.
Okay. So remember, what?
Except they could die. Karen would be good. Oh, Karen, we're quotable.
I'm much bigger than that. I'm almost that.
At this time, we move on to the consent agenda.
Maggie, look
First, I'd like to ask a motion for personnel, 1 through 8, district substitutes, degree changes, staff appointment, staff retirement, salary adjustment, high school volunteer extracurricular activities, advisors, change of assignment, and Anthony Signorelli Youth Program additional counsel.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Arnson. I'll second.
Jeff. Yes. Madam Secretary, can you call? Oh, okay. Any comments or questions on any of the items? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Vice President Harms,
Yes.
Mr. Balaban, Mr. Bowman, Mr. Bruckenstein, Mr. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Gergen,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Mr. Vita,
Yes.
President Miller. Roll call, motion carries.
Motion passes. Next is the education, 9 through 12. 9, education program. 10, workshop attendance request. 11, harassment. 12, educational trip request. 13, monthly certification. No, 12. That's it. Any comments or questions? Do we have to make a motion? Yes. So, go ahead, somebody?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Now is there comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is business, 13 through 19. Monthly certification, approval of bills, September transfers, use of buildings and grounds, moratorium agreement, a memorandum of agreement, I'm sorry. Secretary Treasurer's report, approval of minutes.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any questions or concerns?
I'll just excuse myself from number number 19, abstain from the open session. September 22nd, that will be voted for the back to school.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Vice? Yeah,
We won't hold.
I'm gonna have, I wasn't here present at either of those meetings.
Okay, all right. Can I have withdrawal of the second? Okay, I have to go backwards, right? Okay, can I just have the person who made the second withdraw? Just say you withdraw.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I have the person who made the motion withdraw.
Withdraw number 19 only?
No, withdraw the whole motion.
Withdraw the whole motion?
Right, okay. And this time, I'd like to have a motion to table number 19 until we can have a quorum next month. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion with that withdrawal.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. This time, I'll accept a motion for items 13 through 18. I've already read them, so I just need a motion to accept 13 through 18.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next is item 20, Roselle Park Educational Association and Custodial Maintenance Unit Contract Resolution.
This resolution is going to be revised, but prior to that, I just wanted to make a statement. We have two board members, specifically Vice President Harms and Mr. Nelson, who will be recusing themselves from voting on this particular motion based upon legal conflicts of interest. This is not a reflection in any way of how they feel about resolution number 20. It's just a reflection of their legal conflict of interest. This motion is revised as follows. Be it resolved that the Roselle Park Board of Education, upon recommendation of the Negotiations Committee, hereby approves the Memorandum of Agreement subsequent sidebar agreements and salary guides and the terms contained therein that have been approved by the Roselle Park Education Association and the Roselle Park Custodial and Maintenance Unit for the years 2015 through 2018, based upon proofreading and the correction of any typographical errors and other incidental omissions and errors as agreed upon by the parties.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary? Oh.
Mr. Balaban, Mr. Bowman, Mr. Bruckenstein, Mr. Dam,
Yes.
Mr. Girton,
Yes.
Mr. Vita,
Yes.
President Miller. On roll call, motion carries.
Next is continuing business. Mr. Garrido?
Thank you, Mr. Harms. As of October 20th, there has been one student identified as not residing in Roselle Park, and therefore they have been removed from the school. Thank you.
I think on the agenda we're supposed to have any new business. It's not written on this one here. Okay. Oh, it'd be helpful if I turned it over. Any new business? Seeing none. At this time, I will open up the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address, please.
So all cares in 150 Berwyn Street. But my first question is a matter of just continuing protocol. The 3 members, is it 3 or 4? 4 members who are not in attendance, did they provide notice that they were not going to be in attendance? Thank you. Regarding the vote for the budget, and if someone could clarify that for me. I mean, retract for the contract. Without making any accusations, just stating facts. 3 members of a 9-member board voted. How does that work? What law could you state?
Sure. Roselle Park has a board policy, it's policy 9325.4, that requires a majority of those members who are present and voting in order to be able to approve a contract. So to take it one step further, we have a quorum here this evening, which is what allowed us to open a public meeting. And then based upon that policy, we are able to pass the contract because we have 2 members who have legal conflicts of interest and are not able to vote, and then we have a majority of those present and voting.
Does that supersede state law?
It's not that it supersedes state law, it's actually, in addition, it's actually an increased requirement over state law in the sense that we have 5 members to open and we have a majority of those 5 voting on the contract.
I'm ignorant if state law states that it's a majority of any board or a majority of those present. And I'll relate, and maybe you could enlighten me. A couple of years ago, I'd say 2009 or 10, there was a very similar issue where there were, I believe, 7 members, and 3 of them couldn't vote. And I remember Mr. Balaban stating that there was some kind of procedure that could have been enacted, some kind of emergency.
He's talking about, hold on, it just escaped my head. The doctrine of necessity.
That's it.
Which does not apply in this case. We don't have a doctrine of necessity issue here. We have a quorum to open a meeting and we have enough votes in order to pass a contract. Doctrine of necessity only comes into play when we are not able to meet those minimum requirements. Here we are. I can't speak to what the issue was a number of years ago.
It may have been a budget, I think.
Possibly.
Or a contract. I guess I'll have to go back
and
and
it's
find
different. Statutorily, statute determines the number of votes that you need to pass different items, and it's different for different things.
Okay. Thank you. And just my other question, well, one other question regarding this is, the statement you read, was that in addition to an already existing terms of the contract, or is that just repeating the summary of the contract agreement?
Okay.
The statement you read.
Sure. So I read 2 statements. One had to do with a conflict of interest, and then one had to do with the revision to the resolution. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Sure. So the revision to the resolution is not substance for the contract. What I added to that resolution was just to say that the board was approving it based upon, proofreading and the correction of any typographical errors or other incidental omissions and errors as agreed upon by the parties. So
nothing that would substantially alter.
Change, correct.
Like the word not removed.
And nothing that would be changed without us letting each one another know.
So it's an understanding.
Yes.
That if anything were to, some misspelling or
exactly.
it would say, no, it's been understood.
And we would bring it to one another's attention in writing to say, note that this says, can't when it should have said something else. Right.
So it's been ratified by both parties?
Yes.
Can you provide some information on the substance?
Of the contract?
Of the contract. In general, no general, I don't need... How, in other words, if I were to ask, how is this different than the last contract, I guess, would be something. While that's happening. Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you a question.
It's okay. No, it's okay. We're not prepared at this time to provide a statement about the contract. However, at a future board meeting, we will provide the public with a little summary.
But I could Oprah it tomorrow morning.
Yes, you can
Thank you.
Oprah what's there.
Thank you.
There's no updated contract, but yes, any documents that we have that we're able to provide, we will.
Yes, okay, well, that's happening. Mr. Garrido, I want to thank all the schools for being open for parent-teacher night, to include the opportunity to have
Sure.
parents who have problems with English speak and bring a translator. My only observation is the letter read, if you need a translator, please let us know. It said it in English.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I love it. It's a great, and it's not a criticism. Perhaps maybe, just to add something to say. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Mr. Kirsten, I just want to
Yes.
comment on one last thing. 2 points. What I mean by that we will provide a response to the Oprah request based upon the documents that we have. Right now, there is an old contract, one that has expired, and based upon this vote, that contract will be updated to show the new dates and all of the new items that have been agreed upon. That hasn't happened yet. The document hasn't been, there are
Right.
other documents, yes, so that's why I'm saying, to the extent that we are able to respond to the Oprah request, we certainly will.
Okay.
But some of those documents will not be prepared tomorrow, if you Oprah tomorrow.
Okay.
The other point that I just want to make is that because we have 2 board members on this panel currently that have recused themselves from voting, that's based upon a legal conflict of interest. They don't know the details of this contract. They haven't been briefed, so to speak, on that at this time. Now that this has been voted on, they'll be filled in with that, and at a future board meeting, we will provide a summary to the public.
Is there a general time frame as to when the brand spanking new agreement will be ready?
Completely done?
Yeah.
I would say, these things take time. I would say,
Like next meeting?
I don't think so by next week. It
Okay,
needs
now
to
you know
be,
the answer.
it needs to be reviewed by
Okay.
both the board side and the association side, so it can go back a number of times before it's
And please,
Yeah.
I'm not casting any.
I understand. It's, you know what it is, it's a long agreement, and so based upon the number of changes that need to be made, both the board side and the association side will go through with sort of a fine-tooth comb to make sure that everything's accurately reflected in that document.
And my final comment. I was asking because I was curious about the law. To perhaps dispel any kind of criticism that might come, because 3 board members voted on a contract. Maybe in future the board could, when there's a full board maybe, was there any necessity to rush? In other words, to have it, do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not, it's not a cast of anything, I'm just saying, I guess an act of goodwill or something.
So, I don't want to go through it.
No, I'm not saying for future, for the future.
To have
Right.
people out there
No.
do the same thing you're talking about now, anybody looking at why I won't vote it. By law, I can't.
Right, no,
I don't
no.
know anything about it.
Right.
So you want to have a full board to come through here again?
No, not again, in future, in future.
Well, I thought you meant in the future, like next month.
No, in future contract.
I think he's saying for future contracts, and I think if I could just add this one comment.
Yes.
Negotiations is a process that goes on for a long time. There's
It
a
does.
lot of give and take from both the board side and the association side. While it is business, it can also get emotional as it is something that goes on for long periods of time.
Yes.
The association in this case has ratified, and as a result of that, the board, as soon as it
I see.
is able,
Gotcha.
in a good faith gesture to the association, should be ratifying and voting on that contract as soon as it is legally able. Since the board was legally able to do it tonight, that's why.
Because they were
did.
notified at the last meeting.
Correct.
See, that clears things up. At least I answer questions.
No,
For someone to say, why did it happen?
No, that's fine.
Right.
So thank you for asking the question, and that's the answer.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Jody Foy, 429 Segan Avenue. I just wanted to thank Mr. Garrido and the board for having the board meetings at the schools where the children can be honored. As a parent and as a teacher of a lot of the children who are sitting here, it's just so nice to see them honored for their achievements. So thank you for allowing that to happen.
Thank you.
It is good to see it happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can tell they were all dressed up in their finest.
Yeah.
My name is Sanjata Sekou. I live at 336 Sheridan Avenue. My questions tonight have to deal with what was actually voted on. I know the date was set, but were numbers actually voted on? That was voted on, and the board has that information.
The terms of the contract, yes, any changes.
The terms, okay, so that's just not being disclosed to the public at this time.
Yes, we're just,
Okay.
yes, we're just not prepared to answer questions about that at this time.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Jacob Carroll. I too am of the opinion that you should have a full board voting on the budget. Thank you.
Contract.
We do have a full board, I mean the contract, Jay, contract, budget. I think you followed Saul on that one there, you followed him.
We understand.
We understand what you're talking about. We got it. I'm close to it, Jake, I'm close to it.
You're entitled to a number of mistakes. This is my first mistake.
I think the last thing, okay.
True, for the benefit of the residents, the senior citizens, etc., the full board should vote on the teacher's contract. Thank you.
Yeah, just
So think about that too.
for clarification, what Mr. Harms is saying is that even if we had all 9 members here, there's another board member who's not present tonight who also would have had to have recused himself from voting this evening based upon a legal conflict of interest. So just based upon the factual makeup of this board, even if all 9 were present, 3 would have had to have recused themselves.
Why would they recuse themselves?
It's based upon a legal conflict of interest, so meaning that there is some fact in their lives that precludes them from voting. Perhaps they're employed by a public school district, or they have a family member who's employed by a public school district, something of that sort that precludes them legally from being able to vote on the contract. It's part of the code of ethics for board members, and it's regulated by the Department of Education.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Jim Carmani, 504 East Clay. I want to thank you for having those open forums. I think they're a good opportunity for everybody to, in a different forum, to discuss things. I also like to thank the board for recognizing the students. I think that's phenomenal. Fortunately, my kids hopefully one of those at Sherman, but it's a good thing. To go back onto the whole changing in the 5th grade class, Mr. Garrido, I had spoken to you at one of the open forums about it. I had gone back to school night and spoke to the principal and many members of the Sherman staff. And they had stated in such a way that they had come up with a way that 3 days a week they could change class, and they were shot down. I don't know if this is the forum to do it, or if we need to do something on the side. Maybe we can get a couple parents and, maybe the staff together and kind of sit down and have an open discussion. Because personally, as knowing what the teachers give to these children in their different specialties, the sciences, the social studies, I think you're doing a disservice to these children. And the fact that the staff went out of their way to come up with a curriculum and a way to work in language arts, and what was the, you say language arts, and what was the other part of it? The writing grammar part of it. It just goes to show you what type of teachers you're dealing with, that they're willing to work for these kids. And I know for a fact, I know most of these kids in 5th grade, and every single one of them, every time I saw them, you believe we're not changing class. They were so distraught, so upset. So I understand that you have to do stuff by curriculum and but maybe there's something that we can discuss, and maybe the teachers can do that, maybe December on, I don't know.
Yeah, I would certainly discuss it with the administration, but as you just mentioned, there are requirements and mandates on the number of minutes, especially now with literacy and the language arts block and so forth. As a matter of fact, one of our members brought to my attention, and I've forgotten about this, that at the middle school, we're not switching as much as we used to because we need to have certain minutes required for math, the same as language arts and things. And again, it's best practice. When we have a literacy block where students have their reading, their phonics, and their writing, it's always good practice. And of course, all the content areas, there's literacy also. So, the philosophy or not the thinking behind this is teachers in the homeroom will know what the students need best in all these subjects, and they can actually infuse some of the literacy into science, into social studies, just so they can improve in that area. But certainly, I mean, we're always open to discussion.
And I understand your literacy is a concern,
right?
But you're going to sacrifice your sciences and social studies with better prepared teachers in those disciplines.
Well,
I don't think that's a fair trade.
And again, we can discuss this, and obviously I'm always open for discussion, but a teacher in the elementary grades is certified to teach all subjects for K to 5. So they're all prepared to teach science, social studies, language arts, math. As a matter of fact, when I was a 4th grade teacher, I taught everything in the class because that's what elementary teachers are trained to do, to teach all these subject matters. But again, we never close the doors. We want to make sure that decisions that we make are in the best interest of the students. Again, it's a shift that's happening now, just the same thing as technology. It's a shift using more technology tools than we ever did before. These type of literacy blocks and practices, it's a shift in the way that it used to be from a long, long time ago, traditional way of teaching. But again, there are always pros and cons, and we have to weigh what's in the best interest of the children, always in instructional level. But certainly, we can always have a discussion. You have my information. Please reach out to me.
Well, if there was a shift, I think we might have thought about possibly doing it as rolling it out with the earlier grades, like the 4th and 5th grades finish out the way they're doing it now. Just an idea.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I agree that with the superintendent and the principals and the teachers, or the parents, more, they have to understand what's going on with it. I'm not sure that a lot of the board members know exactly.
Mr. Arms, I understand exactly what's going on, and I understand. However, I think the way the information is being relayed between the superintendent's office, the staff, and to the students, they're students. They don't understand it.
Right.
However, there are ways to go about implementing new policies and practices rather than just throwing them on the kid first day of school, which is not fair.
And I understand, as I said to the children tonight, they come up here, that hopefully they'll understand more than just what happened tonight, the brief answer to it. But I believe that we should have a lot better communication, okay? And I'm not so sure it should be the parents, more so that the students actually understand what's happening. Don't get me wrong, we should communicate with the parents, but I think the students have to understand it in 5th grade. If they're concerned about what's happening, I think they'll understand just as well as the parent would understand, and maybe even better because they're in the situation. So I believe that, and Mr. Garrido will get meetings, and I think it shouldn't just be done in Sherman School, it should be done in Aldine and Robert One also. It should be in you. So thank you for your comments. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'm closing the second portion of the public session. Is there any other comments or anything for the good? I just have one here. Our next scheduled board meeting is Tuesday, November 3rd at Sherman School. At this time, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
When do those retro checks come?